Hello. I'm going to be doing the Oh My Goth Tag. I saw it on Amy Necrotique's channel. I'm going to post her video down below. I wasn't tagged. I'm just doing it. She said whoever wants to do it should do it. And I think that's usually how it works these days anyway. And I just thought it'd be fun. I've been wanting to do a fun type video, but I am just not very creative to come up with my own ideas. So this is a very good format for me to start out with, especially because I just have trouble talking in front of a camera. So this would probably be a good place to start getting used to talking. So the first question: regarding your style, do you take any inspiration from subcultures that are not goth, industrial, or darkly inclined? If so, which ones? So I would say no, mostly no. At least not from what I would consider to be subcultures. So when I first started dressing, I guess goth, I wasn't trying to dress that way. It just sort of happened. And before it started, like, I was into new metal, and my fashion was pretty much in line with that. Like, I had the really baggy pants, the band t-shirts, the hoodies and stuff. I dressed like that for a few years in my very early teens. And then I was trying to move away from that, not because I disliked it. I just wanted to be more creative and experiment a lot more. And it ended up going in what was a very, I guess, goth direction, although it wasn't strictly goth. But that's what a lot of people referred to it as, at least my peers. Um, and so I suppose, like, to an extent, part of that might have been influenced by my interest in, I guess, new metal and just rock and metal in general from before. And then, of course, I did draw inspiration from Laura Ingalls Wilder, the Little House on the Prairie books. Those were my favorites as a child, and it was because of those books that when I got older, I sort of had an interest in old-fashioned type clothing that you can sort of see in the goth subculture, like the corsets and stuff. So that was inspiration. But for the most part, I just do me. I like this? If I do, I do. If I don't, I don't. I don't try to dress in a certain way. Although at this point, I will say, like, I am definitely influenced by the goth subculture, because, like, I have, like, if I see something that I like that reminds me of something that I've seen from a band member or just someone else, I'll get it. Although I would probably grab it anyway. um, but so yeah, no. I guess for my normal clothes, I'm that's mostly inspired by my mom. She buys a lot of clothes for me, and they are very normal looking clothes for the most part, which I'm fine with because, whatever. I'm old, so I don't care as much, and it makes her happy. So, plus it's useful to me, but that's like a whole nother story. And so, question number 2: do you wear makeup that is influenced by goth or darkly inclined subculture, even when you're not going to a goth or darkly inclined function? And yes, I do that. Most of the time when I wear makeup, I mean, usually it's just like a little bit of eye makeup. It's not very much on a daily basis. But, like, if I wear, like, a lot of makeup, it's usually when I'm just sitting at home and it's just something that I want to do for fun. And then I might take, like, a couple selfies because it's like, oh, look, I'm wearing makeup. That's very unusual for me. But most of the time, I don't wear makeup just because if I don't feel like it, I don't feel like it. And outside, too, I have to be careful because I have very sensitive eyeballs. So, like bright lights, wind, and stuff, my eyes will get very easily irritated. And then I will have makeup running down my face if it gets bad enough. And it's bad enough just like being like having a difficult time seeing, and then to top it off to like worry about like black just running all the way down your face. No, I don't like that. So I do, but I don't wear makeup very often. Although it does depend. Sometimes I do go through periods of time where I do feel like wearing it on a more regular basis. But yeah. So 3, what is the dumbest, lamest question you have been asked regarding your alternative appearance? I'm not sure exactly because I don't remember being asked a lot of questions. I've gotten a lot of compliments. Um, I've had a relatively good experience with people in general. Um, so like they might start talking about, especially with hair color. I dye my hair, not a ton, I guess, but I do regularly dye my hair like often weird colors. And so sometimes like people will spark up conversations about that. One time I did have someone in the grocery store. They, before even talking to me, they just started touching my hair, which was really awful. But generally speaking, like I don't really get a lot of questions. It's mostly just compliments or comments or people striking up a conversation about themselves. That kind of thing. So number 4, describe the alternative scene where you live. This may include all darkly inclined scenes. Right now, there's not much. I think that's the case with most places. I do hope to, hopefully soon, be in a place where there is a more active scene. But we'll see. It's haven't got all the details worked out yet. So 5, are any of your relatives a part of the goth industrial or darkly inclined subculture? I want to say no, but one of my brothers is emo. I don't know if that counts as like a darkly inclined subculture. It might. I tried to, when he first started getting into it, I tried to sway him to the goth side, but he would not listen. On the bright side, like relatively recently, I think it was like the last time I went over to visit family and stuff. My mom was going through like old clothes, and we found a couple of his old things that don't fit him anymore. And so I guess in a way, like I could be inspired partially by emo. It's not really inspired. It's just that I wear things that an emo has worn because I took his old clothing. One of them is really, really cute. It's a band t-shirt. And I tried listening to the band. I don't like the band. At first it sounded okay, but then it got that distinct sound that I just despise. But the cartoon on the t-shirt is really, really cute. It's of like this little monster thing. And it looks like he's vomiting out brains. And it's the most adorable thing ever. And like I normally say like don't wear band t-shirts if you don't like the band, but I wear that shirt because I just love the cartoon so much. And I've thought about like altering it so that the band name does not show. I'm not sure if that would make a big difference because the image is probably very associated with the band anyway. And then there's also the issue, like, I always figure, like, if he lost weight, then I would give it back his clothes. But, it's so cute. I can't help it. But yeah, for the most part, my relatives are all weird, but they're not really a part of a subculture, or at least not that I know of. Um, so number 6, other than the music, if you had to pick a part of the subculture to love the most, what would it be? So this is a tough one, but if I had to pick, oddly enough, I think I would say the fashion, which is kind of weird in a way because I normally complain about how heavy the fashion is today, at least online within the goth subculture. Like if you go on YouTube and stuff, it's a lot of um, hauls from popular stores, a lot of makeup tutorials, things that I'm not particularly interested in. Um, and then like on Tumblr, like if you look up goth, it's like 99% selfies. Um, so in a way, it's not just like the fashion in general. It's very specific things about the fashion that I really like, and that is the creativity that goes into it. Um, I like the DIY aspect that a lot of people use. I like the very interesting things that people can come up with. And I like those things like in general. It's just within the goth subculture, I just tend to prefer it more with them specifically. Like, I'm kind of rambling right now because I'm not sure how to phrase it, but it's very specific things about the fashion, and not so like certain parts of it I don't like, and then other parts I love. So I'll just keep it to that. Um, and so number 7, what is the first goth industrial band you ever listened to? So the first goth band, using goth as an umbrella term, um, would be Switchblade Symphony, and they are a darkwave band. At the time, my sister was downloading music. She was trying to find something new to listen to, and then I started downloading music too, sometimes. But Switchblade Symphony was one of them, and like before then, it was pretty much just whatever was on the radio. I was pretty much stuck with that. So when I was hearing all these other bands that sounded very different, very unique, it was really amazing to me. And Switchblade Symphony I really loved. And there were a couple other darkwave bands that I got into, and then Love Like Blood would be the first, I suppose, more traditional like goth rock band that I ever heard, and really liked. So yeah, not much to say there. I really like those bands. But yeah. So number 8. What is your favorite song that is not goth industrial? This is a very hard choice. Because my favorite songs change depending on my mood. It's not always the same. I don't think I've ever had a favorite song that is consistent. Sometimes I'll go back to it, but it changes. So I think right now, the last song that I remember being like a favorite, that I kept listening to like on repeat and stuff, that wasn't a goth band would be Lost in the Gray Days, their song Coma, and that is depressive black metal, if I remember right. I really like that song. It's very pretty. highly recommend it if you were interested in that kind of music. So, number 9, if you were planning a goth vacation, where would you go and what would you see? Okay, so I think like for a while now, I keep thinking like if I went on a vacation, my plan would be to go visit one of my friends that I met online and everything, and go visit them, and then we go goth clubbing, and then just hang out and stuff. Although, like, I would like to eventually have more, like, have vacations outside of the country, travel more. Right now, I don't think about it too much because it's not something that I can afford. So, um, but that would be like the first. That would be like my first. My first thought, like if I'm going to plan a vacation, that would be like my first choice. Which hopefully will happen. So, number 10. Can you share a quote or saying that is your life philosophy? So I'm not sure if this would fit, but I'm going to quote this. It is by Ambrose Bierce. Life, a spiritual pickle, preserving the body from decay. I'm not sure if that really says anything, but I like it. I don't really, I'm sort of a nihilist. I don't really think that there's any ultimate meaning or purpose in life or whatever. And I draw a lot of my life philosophy from that. So it's basically, we're here, we might as well enjoy it the best we can, as long as we don't make it worse for anybody else either. So that's like my basic life philosophy. Have fun, enjoy life the best you can, but don't be an asshole.